And I think it's really great if you're healing from a broken heart, because you're so used to kind of considering other people's feelings other than your own. And I think once you put yourself first, good things can happen. And good things can happen for your healing journey.
Hello, dear listeners. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Happy all of the things. Today, I am going to share an oldie but goodie episode from closer to the beginning, quite close to the beginning of my podcasting career. This episode is all about manifesting new things, using your healing journey to manifest things, manifesting things as a way of advancing on your healing journey, and making the beginning of the year count. I really hope that you will enjoy this. I was the one who wrote it with all of the listeners in mind. And if you are entering the new year with your breakup still kind of heavy on your heart, I hope it will help. And I also really encourage you, don't let this time go to waste. This is the time to work, to put it behind you, to wipe the slate clean, to start a new chapter of life. I really hope that these tips will help. If you want more power, go over to Instagram and send me a message, and let's see what we can create together. And with that, I am sending you so much strength for the week ahead.
Yes. So are you really wanting 2022 to be the year that you finally kick your breakup and really, really open up this new chapter of your life? Well, there are a lot of ways that you can do that you might not have thought of. So we thought a fun New Year's episode would be to share some of our favorite manifesting tricks and practices that may help you to start designing a life you will love without your ex.
Let's do it.
All right.
So we kind of come at law of attraction maybe like from different experience levels, but I think we're both like very much like manifesting works. We can't quantify it scientifically, but it just does. Like you talk to anyone who has become successful, whether it's in business, in life, in relationships, in just like overall fulfillment and happiness, like they are practicing these things, whether or not they call it law of attraction or not.
And what you just said at the very last part of your sentence is that success and happiness, because I think that there are a lot of successful people out there who aren't happy still. And it's because maybe they don't believe as much in manifesting. But the ones who are successful and happy, that's why they're successful, and that's why they are happy. Certainly.
Yeah. So we have some basic beliefs about manifesting and healing. So number one, the words we use to talk about our breakup and our healing matter. They matter so much. That's why we're constantly, if you've been a long-time listener, you know we're always saying, let's reframe that. Let's change that thought to like from a negative mindset to at least a progress mindset. Even if you're not able to get fully into, I'm going to get over my ex, it can just be, I'm learning to get over my ex instead of, I'm never going to get over my ex.
Yeah.
You know?
Or I can't. Or
I can't. So the words we use super matter. So especially for the folks who are more in the moving on chapter of our podcast, that counts too. So don't say that the apps have no one good on there. You're on there. And I think you're great. So you can't be the only one. So anyway, the words we use matter. I'll step off of my soapbox for just a second. And then also, number two, mindset is a practice that takes time. We don't expect you to just wake up one day and believe everything we're saying, but we're going to keep saying it over and over again with full belief until you're there too. So
especially if you're not used to living this way, in quotes, I can say from experience that this is something that you got to practice over time before it sticks.
Yeah. And also like we were raised by humans who probably didn't know much about this. Just chances are, it's likely a lot of your formative experience was lack focused and, not abundance focused like this.
All right. We also believe that visualizing what you want your life to look like is the first part in making it happen. And as far as visualizing goes, that is something that we will be talking a lot about on this episode. And the law of attraction works. When we reprogram ourselves to be happy, no matter what the circumstances, at least most of the time, you're allowed to have your bad days. Claire and I both do. You will be happy no matter what the circumstances. That too is a practice. And I'm just going to throw this in. There's a lot of misconceptions about the law of attraction. And please remember that the law of attraction is not actually about manifesting free cars or millions of dollars. It's about having the feeling that you think these things will bring you and having this feeling most of the time. Okay. I think a lot of people don't understand that, but it's about happiness, not the things.
Yeah, exactly. The way I've heard it described is that you focus on the feeling that you will have. So whether or not you get to the goal, you kind of don't care anymore. You're just like, great, that happened, but I was already good,
Yeah. Do what makes you feel good. That's what Abraham Hicks is always saying. And then do that some more, and then do that some more. Let's talk about how to put this into action to get your best year yet.
Our first tip is to use affirmations. Affirmations help change the way you talk about your life. So this can really help you turn a corner with your healing. And it's also one of our favorite things to talk about on the show. And if you listen to us, you knew it was coming. So here it is, affirmations. So affirmations are positive messages about what you want your life to look like and feel like that you repeat daily in order to help your system start believing them. So they have to be phrased in a way that what you want has already happened, basically.
Yeah.
And I use affirmations typically as kind of a hybrid with reframing thoughts. So when a client is having a thought that really bothers them, that's keeping them stuck, that's when we step in and we're like, okay, what's something more positive, more like direction oriented that'll take us to where you want to be that you can still believe? And the way we phrase it is like an affirmation. And I'm like, okay, when you have that other thought, just make sure you add this affirmative thought to the mix. And so we're like sneaking affirmations in. And you don't have to just do it with that. You can use them as part of your New Year's like resolution.
Yes, you could even
a chapter sort of thing.
Exactly.
What was that?
Or I was going to say you could put them on your vision board even. There are so many ways to use affirmations. We are not going to talk about them all today.
Yeah.
I will say that sometimes I like to write 4 or 5 separate affirmations on separate index cards and say them out loud as part of my morning or evening meditation practices. I did this in the month of December. I wanted to manifest clients. I had an expensive holiday I was paying for, and I wanted to have happy holidays. And so I wrote an affirmation for each thing.
Yeah.
And I would say them at night, kind of before bed, and very effective. And then also sometimes I select one for the week and I put it in my work area to keep me positive and, on theme. Yeah. And if this is something that is kind of lighting you up, we do have several X-Files resources to help. And I would say now is the time to do this. It's the beginning of the year. I would say dive in. So first of all, we've got episode 25, which is the healing power of affirmations. And then right after that in the feed, you will see a bonus episode or a bonus resource that is breakup affirmations. And then you will also find that last year we did a 10-day no contact series. So if you're starting the new year with a new commitment to no contact, we have a 10-day series and it included a different affirmation for each day. So let's talk about vision boards, okay?
Yes.
If we're going to have a New Year's episode talking about manifesting, it would be kind of hard to leave this out. Claire, do you use a vision board?
So I haven't done like a physical paper vision board, at least not in recent history. But I kind of do something, I do a couple things. So number one is at least my computer desktop right now is basically a vision board. It's kind of more of an aesthetic of what I want, but I switch out a quote, which kind of helps. You can combine the vision board and the affirmations. So every time I open up my computer and I see my desktop background, right now it says stay inspired, never stop creating. And I know that's like so basic, but creating is what makes me happy. So that's like kind of what everything I do is based on being creative, whether it's with coaching or the podcast or writing, it's all, that's the driving force is the creativity.
That's so interesting. Because I wouldn't say that's mine. And I love that. And you are very creative and I love what it brings to the show so much.
Aww,
and it fascinates me that's what lights you up. I like that. Thank you for sharing.
What lights you up? Obviously helping people, like that's in there too, but like I do it in this way so that, impact happens, because I could have been like a nurse or something, and not that nursing doesn't take creativity, but my way of helping people right now is really like taking up that huge part of me that loves creativity as well, Yeah,
I think that creative is probably what keeps you going in all aspects of your work life, from what I know about you.
Yeah. Well, cool. So I have desktop backgrounds. In the past I've used my phone as well, because I'm like always on my phone. So every time I open, the lock screen or whatever, it's like another reminder of an affirmation, or like if I'm saving up for something, I'll have that as the background because it'll help me stay motivated, and also less online shopping if the thing I'm saving for is right there before I log into Amazon.
I'm going to do that, Claire. That's awesome. I like that idea a lot.
I have a lot of other things as well, but tell us about your vision boarding.
Yeah, so I'm kind of fired up about vision boards right now because, I just finished a year with definitely my best vision board yet. That's a gorgeous piece of art and that was very effective. So I just want to just kind of explain how I did it. I think it really works to do what is going to be fun for you. But I came up with this concept last year, and it just sort of came to me over time. When I was approaching 2021, I knew I wanted to do it. We were just starting the podcast, and I knew I wanted to call things in, but I could not get started with physically doing it. And so it was well into January when it finally all came to me.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep. I guess I needed to kind of get the lay of the land or something.
Yeah.
And so slowly through the month I did it. And how I did it was, first of all, I would sit in meditation and not really think about the year ahead, but just kind of let things come to me. And then just various words just came. And as I went, I would write them down in my journal. I had things like books, glitter, X-Files, helping people, things like that. And then also different colors kept coming to me. So over time, I just kind of started having this visual concept. And then eventually I knew that I had gotten kind of to the end of all of the words. So then I put all of the words on different pieces of paper in my fancy hand lettering. And I created a collage with the words, just the words. So in my case, I wasn't using, magazine cutouts of houses. If that works for you, that's great. But this was a board that used the words. And then I love flowers. I'm such a flower person. I cut out a lot of pictures of flowers from magazines, and I placed the flowers around the words. And in the end, it was such a visually appealing vision board to look at. And then I put it up in my room where I cannot help but look at it, 20 times a day. And I think that was probably the key for me, is that I would stop and look at it every single day through the day.
Yeah.
And I got everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Like I say, I've told you this, Claire. There was one thing that I put on my vision board last year that I put on there because I kind of felt like I had to, because I was working on a project and I felt almost obligated to say that I wanted to call in success for this project. But I had this little feeling in me.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I didn't end up manifesting but other than that, I had great year and got everything on it.
Nice.
So
Very
I
nice.
encourage people to do it if it lights you up. If this is exciting to you to create something, then I say do it. Make sure that it's good to look at. Make sure that you do look at it. And get creative and have fun.
Sounds
So
good.
this is another thing that I use for manifesting. I'll go through this pretty fast, and it's called the I Desire exercise, and also living a desire-led life. I probably will be doing events around this year, which I'm excited about calling in. So do you find it hard to focus, or do you find yourself getting distracted still with thoughts about your ex? If so, have you ever thought about learning to listen to your desire? About 4 years ago, as people know, I decided that it was time to rely on the wisdom inside of me. And once I did, it changed my life forever. So from what I eat each day to who I spend time with and what I do for work, I listen to my desire. Sometimes speaking our desires to someone else can feel easier than sitting alone and letting our intuition guide us. And sometimes it can feel more difficult. So regardless of what you think about what I just said, the most important way that you can let your desire lead you is just to simply get used to working with it. So during one of my darker chapters in life, I learned the desire inventory. This is not something that I made up. I don't want anyone to think I'm saying that. It was something that I learned through my involvement with orgasmic meditation. In this exercise, it's a journaling exercise where you just simply write out all your desires. It's kind of a what do you call it, Claire? Like a stream of consciousness almost?
Yeah.
Yes. So I say I do it for 15 minutes, but if I know that this is a big leap for some people who have never done it before. So I say for 5 minutes, set a timer and just ask the universe for anything you want. So get out your journal and a pen and just write sentence after sentence that begins with I desire, I desire, I desire, and then put something at the end. If you get stuck, then just keep on writing the word I desire, and I promise you'll have things start coming to you.
Yeah.
So it's important that you don't think about the practicalities of getting what you desire.
Yeah.
It's only that you're giving yourself permission to ask for it. And I think that this is a good manifesting tool for the beginning of the year, because you can start to get in tune with what you want to ask for. And I think it's really great if you're healing from a broken heart, because you're so used to kind of considering other people's feelings other than your own. And I think once you put yourself first, good things can happen. And good things can happen for your healing journey.
And also good things happen for other people too.
Yeah.
I always say, when you give yourself permission to have desires, have needs, have wants, when you give yourself permission to be honest about what you will and will not tolerate, you give other people permission to also have their own needs, to also be like, actually, this is a boundary for me. Actually, I would love to do this thing. We are like the people we are around. So even by putting yourself first, even though we're kind of taught societally that it's, a zero-sum game, that if I'm winning, someone else is losing, that's not the case at all. When you're like when you're living in your truth and you're like, yes, I want this and I want that. For me, that gives someone else permission to also be like, yeah, actually, I have some things that I would like to do with my life as well, you know? And everyone has different needs and wants. And so like your goals or your desires are going to be different than someone else's. Like, so just you achieving what you want doesn't mean that you're blocking someone else from achieving what they want. And I
Yeah,
think
God, that's a mindset thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like kind of the leading mindset in at least the US, you know, where it's like, if someone's winning, then someone else is losing. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm just sitting here thinking if I ever think that way. And I suppose, yes, if I was 1,000% honest and authentic, which I try to be on this show. And I think once in a while, I am friends and colleagues with a lot of coaches. And I do think once in a while I see other people, you know, killing it. And I guess, yeah, it does once in a while kind of trigger some insecurity in me, you know, in the tiniest way. Like, well, why aren't I having that?
Yeah.
But though probably people look at me and think the exact same thing because I'm often killing it. But yeah, I guess that's the dynamic.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I often do, but yeah, once in a while I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, keep an eye out for that and, you know, be gentle with yourself. If that's like a fear around having desires and stuff, then let's work through that. So another way to manifest a new beginning in this new year is a new environment. So this is a great way to symbolically and also emotionally start a new chapter in your life, is physically creating a new space. When we change our surroundings, we change what we are used to seeing each day, and our system begins to think that something new has happened, that there are new opportunities because there's new things around you. And also a freshened up space just like feels really good anyway. So in a lot of cases, people end up moving towns and changing their living situation due to a breakup. Like definitely, if this is calling to you, think it through really well. I mean, Janice has definitely talked about, like in the past, doing things very spur of the moment, especially with big moves.
I mean, and that was what I didn't move because the breakup required it. So yes, that's not what we're talking about here. I'm saying like if you need to move away because you're living with your ex, or you need to move town somehow because directly related to the breakup, yes, but please do not make a spontaneous move. Wait a while, please. Yeah, for sure.
There's no rush, but
I say don't keep living with your ex like that.
No,
go and do.
Don't. Get out. Like, trust me, I was living in Santa Barbara County. It is a very expensive place to live, and I started paying, double the rent that I was before, and it was worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no money, but it was worth it. I could not imagine trying to heal while living with an ex.
No.
Like that. Don't do it. You can still create a new environment even if you're staying put after a breakup. Here's some ideas. So get a roommate. That can be a great way to just change your environment.
Switch things up a bit.
Because even if you're staying put after your breakup, they're bringing new stuff into your space. You're starting to create new memories. Even though you're, don't date your roommate, but have a platonic roommate. But you're still making new connections and friendships, and they'll probably bring their own stuff and kind of change the dynamic of the space. Or you can live alone for a while. I did that. I love living alone now. It was rough at first, but wow, I love it now. So definitely highly recommend living alone if you can. Another way to change your environment is, getting out of town, like doing those like weekend trips or week trips if you can, if you have flexibility with your work, getting into a new space, even just temporarily, can just help remind you, okay, the world is big. You can stay with a friend or a family member for a while, like whether it's a week or a month, that can just like help bring you into a different kind of rhythm and environment.
Yeah. If it's a positive opportunity, I think that this could be good.
Yeah.
But be careful who it is.
Yeah, be careful who it is. Yeah. The friend or family member, I mean, friends are different, but family for sure, like, be realistic about whether this will be the best thing for your mindset, because sometimes family can just like say the darndest things.
Definitely. And I think, we put this on the list very much. If you have someone you're really close with who you just want to go and pal around with and be near during this hard time because you think that's going to be a positive force in your life.
Yeah.
Yes, don't just pick someone who's going to let you crash just because they'll let you. Trust me.
Yeah.
And then make it worse.
Yeah. And then my top tip is always getting new bedding. If you do nothing else, the bedroom is just it's an intimate space you shared with someone, and I feel like it's good to like clean out that energy and have fresh sheets ready
we gotta
to go.
Get some sheet sponsors, I think, for X-Files, and we will promote the hell out of you.
Totally.
I like that tip. And then just a general redecoration of your space. This could be also just a really good project to use to distract yourself right now, and that could, put you in an entire new environment. So, get out Pinterest and move your furniture around and start sprucing up the place. Another way to change your environment is changing up your morning routine so that you're, doing different things in a new way in your space.
Yeah.
If you work from home, or no, regardless of where you work, you can revamp your workspace, because you spend a lot of time at work. So whatever that may mean for you, sprucing it up, adding new things, decorating it, making it more enjoyable. Great way to change your environment. You could join a co-working space. That's obviously going to be a huge change of environment if, you're someone who works from home. Mm-hmm. And finding a new restaurant or cafe to spend time in. I think it's really good to kind of have a local place where you hang out and people know you, and you can, go in the evenings or go for dinner and, get out of your normal surroundings. So maybe pick a new place and kind of start spending time there.
Yeah.
And I have really, really, really loved having my new space this year. And I would definitely say that I've added some magic to it. So if someone is moving to a brand new space, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to work with you to make your own space magical. So please hit me up. That would be so exciting for me.
Amazing.
And when it comes to changing your environment, whatever it is, just really commit to it. Mm-hmm. Switch things up, and you will really start to make a new chapter in your life. All right. So if you are ready to use 2022 to start a new chapter of your life, you could begin with manifesting visualizations. Visualization is often referred to as meditation. It's a little bit different, and it is a powerful way to create the new life that you want. There are many ways to use visualization to do this. So I'll share a couple of my personal practices. So first of all, in the morning, I would say most of the time, but not always, I use my meditation app, and I just think about what I want my ideal day to look like. Sometimes I think about my ideal day in general, kind of like visualizing what I want the future to look like. But often I think about that day and the things that I need or want to do and how I want everything to flow. And, like even when I want to take my break, and definitely how I want to feel while it's all happening. That's one way to do it. And then I started something in 2021 that was quite powerful. And that is what's called the workshop when it comes to law of attraction. And that would be at noon, I would stop and I would go to my meditation mat. And then I would visualize what I want my ideal future to look like, the programs that I want to create, the things with X-Files that I want to happen, the things with my apartment that I want to happen, my impact, my social media numbers, just everything in my ideal future that I want. And I mean, it was like as big as I could possibly think. Mm-hmm. And that is really the point of this, is that you don't set any limits on this type of visualization. You just think, if I could have my biggest dreams come true, what would it look like? Yeah. Sometimes I would write this out in my journal, and I have some really cool journal entries from when I was doing this daily. And I would definitely recommend it to others. It's, fairly simple, but I still think that people limit themselves from thinking big.
Yeah.
And it's the beginning of the year. You've just, healed from a breakup. This is the time to start calling in the life that you love. So
yeah,
don't put limits on it.
It's like a vision board, but just in your mind. I think we all like work slightly differently. So maybe like listening to an affirmation track is like the way things work the best for you. Maybe visualizing is really, really effective for some people. Maybe it helps to have like a physical board that you're looking at. Maybe writing it helps, but
maybe
like
all of it.
Yeah, all of it. Honestly, though, the more ways you can experience what you want, the more your brain will start to accept it as possible. There's something called your reticular activating system, which is how your brain decides what to perceive. So I'm not a numbers person, but there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, like millions of bits of data basically in every second that you can perceive through your skin or your eyes or your ears and whatever. But your brain can only really process like 200 bits of it. So it's like 0.001% of reality that your brain is allowing you to see because, it's just too much. And how it chooses is it makes assumptions based on your previous experience. So whatever you've experienced in the past, it's like, well, that'll probably continue. So we're going to like make sure to let in information that supports our prior experiences. And it also uses your beliefs. So what you believe is literally what you're going to perceive. But the great thing is you can retrain this because your brain doesn't really know the difference between when you are visualizing something in your head or imagining something happening. It perceives that really as reality at the same time. So when you visualize something and you visualize what you want, even if you have no idea how you're going to get there, like that's not important. Don't worry about that. Just visualizing what you want, your reticular activating system starts to get new programming. They're like, well, apparently this is possible because we just experienced it at lunch when we did our workshop. Even though it was just in your mind, the RAS now is like, okay, we're going to let in information that supports that new reality.
Yes.
So it's really incredible, but your beliefs change how you experience life. So if you are putting in the work to change your beliefs, things literally do change because
I mean, it's just true. We've experienced it, and remember that to anything that's created is created twice. The first time in someone's mind and then the second time physically.
Oh
it
my
has
God.
to start in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way that anything is created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's an experiment, right, where you're walking down the street and you see someone you met at a party, and you're like, oh, we had such a great conversation. Like, they'll totally remember me. So you wave and you say hi, and they just like ignore it and they blow right past you.
Okay.
So, like, based on your previous experiences in life, you'll either think, wow, how rude, they just ignored me. I must have actually not had a good conversation with them. They must have thought I was stupid or something. Or you could be like, oh, they must be really busy and they didn't see me. And so whatever like perception you have of an interaction is informed by what you believe about yourself. So like that person, yeah, they could have very well not seen you. Yeah, they could have very well ignored you, but your experience of that interaction changes based on.
Yeah. And I suppose how personal you take it. I mean, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
they
exactly.
did ignore you and you're just like, well, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You
it's not
could be
my
like, they ignored
problem.
me and I don't care.
I wasn't the rude one. Go on with your day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
Interesting.
just like, yeah, you know, so you'll notice it. There's like people who get like really, really upset about things that maybe wouldn't upset you. And that's like a minor example of this, you know? So yeah, that's really cool. I love visualizations. So next up is setting daily and weekly intentions. So, intention setting, I think is really important. We both listen to Sex with Emily. It's like an amazing podcast. Go check it out. If you want to free yourself,
Free yourself.
free your body and everything.
Yes.
I don't know, but basically, she's amazing. It's a really entertaining podcast. But what she does each time is she sets an intention for the podcast with the listener, and she also invites you to set your own intention. So I think that's something really cool and powerful that she does. And, you know, it's important because we can get like kind of stuck in the flow, like especially Janice and I, we have so much going on right now. So it really helps me to take a moment and like before I start working on a script or before I start recording, be like, okay, I'm not just recording for recording's sake. Like, what's my intention? And it's literally like a 2-second thing, and I do it in my head. I don't even like really like pause, but I'm like, what's the intention? Okay, I want this podcast to give someone at least one action to take away. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's so habitual now that I don't even think about it. But like, I realize that not everyone approaches every interaction in their day like this.
Yeah.
How do you handle it, Janice?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I go about setting intentions through my day as much as that. So I think that's really cool. I'm glad that you shared that for sure. I keep on thinking that we need to set intentions at the beginning of our recordings. Maybe we can call that in this year.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
One thing that I do, I kind of work weekly, and most of the time on Sundays, I take my Sunday evenings, which is why I'm very, very rarely doing anything on Sundays because I have to have this in my life. And I do the desire inventory for what I want out of my week. And then, so I write for 15 minutes about what I want. And then I go back and I read it and I kind of circle the big things that I really want for my week. And then I write them on a piece of paper and put them in my workspace so I can see. And it's, just intentions for my week. And it could be things I want to accomplish, ways I want to feel, something I want to do for myself, whatever comes to me when I'm doing the desire inventory. Nice. And then I keep them somewhere where I can be reminded of them through the week.
I love that. I need to start doing that.
If it works for you.
Yeah. I haven't done a habit tracker before, but Janice has got me on my first month of habit tracker.
I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Honestly, I've been doing it for 3 days and I've stuck with it for 3 days, which is impressive for me because
Great.
I get these grand ideas of what I should do. And then, you know, I obviously don't. Not every time. It'll be like, oh, like I forgot I was saying I was going to do that. And now it's been like a week since the last time I read, you know. And
That's why I do it. Exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it's
So-
right there. You can't.
Yeah.
So you can't forget. And I mean, ticking off those boxes just feels so good.
Yeah, because otherwise the days just go so fast. And then before I know it, I'm like, it's been like 2 weeks since I called my parents, or like, you know, and I'm not going to daily call my parents. But I
It's
think
like, is that
maybe
on
I
there?
should do it
Damn.
more than every couple weeks, you know? I don't want to let time slip by like that. So, but I do naturally. So next one, creating a powerful morning routine. Like I love morning routines.
Same.
I'm so why is a morning routine so important for manifesting a new beginning? Well, it's because when we start the day off on a positive, happy, grounded foot, we take that energy with us into the day, and we're more likely to stay connected in that energy. And when we stay connected to that energy, we allow more positive things to happen in our lives. It's kind of like, I don't know, it can go both ways. If you're in a bad mood, I'm almost like, how can I make my mood worse? How can I just like stay in this hole, you know? But when I'm happy, I'm also like, let's stay happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, my choices and my mindset and everything flow from there. An object in motion stays in motion, right? So
Yeah,
make sure that
girl.
motion is
Totally.
in the right direction that you want to go.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is very personal. So like a morning routine may be very different for different people. So while you may see a lot of social media posts that suggest a walk, a meditation, journaling, lemon water, gratitude practice, like that's not all of those are going to work for everyone. So Janice, what is in yours?
So I am also someone who kind of lives and dies by their morning routine. I really need to get grounded at the beginning of my day, and especially Monday through Friday. I just can't even be effective at all if I don't do this. So I have a morning routine that is, I guess, kind of indulgent, which I definitely recommend, especially if you're going through a breakup.
Yeah.
But again, like this is what works for me. I like to live indulgently. So starting my day off in that way definitely works, and it just carries on into all of my life. So what I do wake up fairly early for someone who doesn't have to get to an office. And first of all, I start my morning routine the night before in that I get my drip coffee maker completely ready. So admittedly, I'm not using fresh water, because then when I wake up in the morning, I can just get into the kitchen and hit the button. And then, you know, put water on my face while my apartment, you know, fills with the wonderful aroma. Then I get my coffee ready, and then I go back into my room and back into bed. And then I read for maybe 30 or 40 minutes, or I kind of just sit there with my coffee and just kind of think about my day, think about things that are going on. But every single day, I always get back in bed with that coffee. So after I do that, I get dressed, and then I go and I do my meditation. And then after my meditation practice, I go for a walk. I get outside. Every day before I start working, I go outside. Maybe not if it's definitely not if it's raining. Sometimes if it's snowing, I still get out. But if the roads are not safe, I don't. But we're living in Denver, that's not an issue that often. We are very, very lucky here.
Yeah.
It's only like a
Good road
handful
service.
of times a year that I can't get outside. And then I come back in from that. This is when I check my email and shower and have breakfast in kind of like an hour time slot. I kind of slowly do all of that. And then after everything, that's when I start work.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I wish my morning routine is not quite as consistently, like that's more like my weekend routine, like my weekend morning routine. I have a lot more time. But yeah, so for me, I wake up and I used to have like the Wi-Fi lights, so I could just tell Alexa to turn on my lights, which really helps me like wake up because I also can't sleep if it's like light at all in my bedroom. So I have to have like the blackout curtains, and that makes waking up hard. So I end up like I turn the lights on to 50% and then a couple minutes later to 100%. So it kind of simulates the light rising in the sky. But so that's, I need to figure that out because I got new Wi-Fi and they haven't worked since. So I'm working on it. But that's what I normally do. And then I turn on a podcast, and it's very specific. Because I need something to start like to keep me in consciousness, basically. And so it's usually like a mindset or like productivity type podcast because it gets me into like the badass like boss babe mode. And I know that term is like not cool anymore, but
oh, come on. If it resonates with you, I know these things come and go as trends. Now it's like the anti-boss babe movement and the anti-hustle. Like, but I'm like, that was actually working boss. For me.
Yeah. It's, whatever.
I don't know.
Do you, like obviously be kind to others, but do you? Yeah. So that's what I do. So I have my podcast going. I get out of bed. I make my matcha tea. I stopped drinking coffee. I even put my Keurig like in the closet, like it's done. So that has been amazing. So I make my matcha, drink my matcha while listening to the podcast. And then once I've drank my matcha and everything, then I do this meditation. It's called Kirtan Kriya. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's amazing. It's kind of like a chanting meditation.
I love Kirtan.
Yeah.
I've been looking for one in Denver.
Oh my God.
You do that in the morning.
Yeah, so I was just doing it at any point during the day, and recently I've moved it to the morning so that I will be more consistent about doing it, and also because it just feels amazing. So I highly recommend looking up that meditation. It's perfect for someone who doesn't like just sitting in silence and not doing anything. I go a little bit crazy. So this gives you something to do like physically and verbally, and you're like keeping track of it. It's like rhythmic. There's been a ton of research actually by the Alzheimer's Association on specifically this type of meditation. It helps improve memory, slow the onset of Alzheimer's. It's just like very scientifically backed up.
Cool.
So
I'm doing it.
If you're one of those people who's like, meditation is so woo-woo, like I'm a scientist, this is your meditation, do it. Like, I mean, it's all backed up by science. This one just happens to have a lot of like documentation behind it, if that's your thing. So so that's what I do. And then I jumped on this podcast recording. So much shorter. I'll be eating breakfast in a little bit.
So I will actually go and walk after this is what I do on the mornings we record. Because dear listener, we record a bit early. I would have to say. I think people would be a little surprised to hear about our schedule. It's still quite early where we are.
Yeah.
Certainly was early when we started.
We're in the rise and grind kind of period of our lives right now. So.
I embrace that about us.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to throw in a tip that I think I've mentioned on the show before, but I started sleeping with my blinds open recently, and that's because I am up high in my building. I feel that I have privacy. I know that's not going to work for everybody. And so the sunlight, is just coming straight in at me in the morning. And for me, I love that. It helps me. Yeah. It's very inspiring. It feels good. I enjoy it. And it makes it easier to get up. Like I said, it's not going to work for everyone. But if this is something that's accessible to you, I love it. I cannot close these things. I got to have them open.
Yeah. I mean, I would do that if I could sleep like when it was actually nighttime. I love waking up to natural light. So Yeah.
You're gonna
Is there
get
like a
Alexa's
remote control
coming back.
blind that you can use in an apartment? Like renter friendly remote control blinds. Anyone has an idea for me, please let me know.
That's got to be out there. That's got to be out there.
It's gotta.
So, do you want to design a morning routine of your own? I work with clients on this, and it's kind of eye-opening sometimes because I kind of find out that people aren't really sure where to start. So 2 of my tips are, first of all, bring music into your morning routine somehow. So Claire is doing her chants, which I think is really cool. Or you could design a morning playlist. You could put on upbeat music. This is just, one small and easy thing that you could start doing consistently that will kind of, it'll signal to your system that it's morning. It'll get you in a good mood. And like I said, consistency is the key. And then another thing that's easy and quickish is to just take 5 minutes to think about what you want your day to look like, what you want your theme of the day to be, what you want your intention to be. Just 5 minutes. And again, consistency. So let us know how you go.
Awesome. All right. Up next, cut all ties with your ex. Come on,
we got to
guys.
go there. Sorry, everyone.
We got to go there because we got to remind you one more time, many more times. If you're ready for a fresh start, if you desire to have this year to be a powerful one and leave your ex in the past, have you cut all ties with them? Are you still in touch with them? Is the door still open? Do you look at old photos and messages? Are you looking at their social media? Are you seeing if they're looking at your social media? Like, you have to leave this person in the past. You have to treat it like they literally don't exist anymore.
I mean, the new year could be a great time to finally delete all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, why are you I don't want to sound frustrated, but like, why are you bringing this with you into another year? Like, get off this episode and go and delete whatever you need to delete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, we know it's hard, but we're going to keep pushing it because it is very important to your healing and to moving into the future. You can't really do that if you're just like clinging to the past. Yeah. So, use this new year to make a new commitment to disconnecting from this person. Nothing will hold you back more than continuing to connect with your ex. And that includes looking at messages and photos. We have a ton of episodes to support you. So, check out episode 2, No Contact, episode 4, So You Want to Get Over Your Ex, episode 11, Social Media After a Breakup, and episode 15, 10 Breakup Commandments. Those are a few that, especially if you're going through a weak moment, just like put one of those on, and sometimes that'll be like the motivation to, get into a better headspace and resist the urge to or just have the urge just go away. Like I find that's a thing sometimes, like if you're struggling with something, put on something that's inspiring you to do what you actually want to do, not just what you're being urged to do. Yeah. I
mean, if you follow any of what we're talking about in this episode, I think that you'll maybe even quickly start to lose the urge to be in touch with this person and to go back and look, because you're just going to be high vibing. And, when you're high vibing, you don't want to do things that are going to low vibe you. So it really does create, like this spiral effect, chain reaction, snowball. So go and do it now. Yeah. Manifesting a new chapter of your life. If you're not really sure where to start, you could focus on your health. So I don't want to do anything, put anything out here that is restrictive or that's going to, take a lot of discipline. But if you aren't really sure where to start, I would maybe just start here. When we feel good, it creates a chain reaction that allows for more good things to flow into our life. Focusing on health does not mean signing up for a new year, new you program or doing anything drastic that isn't pleasurable. It will vary from person to person, but it could mean getting outside more, increasing your water intake, learning how to cook new dishes. That could be a great breakup thing to do, or a daily stretching routine. I mean, I'm guessing that everyone has something related to their health that they'd like to put a little more focus and energy on. I mean, now is your chance. Before I moved to the States, I had kind of this, one of probably the 4 spiritual awakenings that I've had in my life. And I decided to put focus on my health because I started walking and I just started feeling so good. And so then, I started eating more salads. Then I started sleeping more. Then I started having like kind of a crazy amount of water as soon as I would wake up in the morning because it built on itself. And I will say it led to a lot of clarity. I feel like the mind fog that I was experiencing for a long time went away. I started realizing what it was that I want. And like I said, I felt better. I definitely had way more energy, way more, which was great. And I don't really know how much I can get into this now, but I had been someone who was depressed often. Like I thought that depression was going to be, like this lifelong challenge for me. And I have to say, when I started focusing on all of these things, it really went away. And when it comes up in my life still, it goes away faster. I'm sure that there's science in there somewhere, but that's my experience with focusing on health or renewed focus on health.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to be the person who was like, if I'm not pushing myself super hard all the time, then I'm not trying and I'm not like worthy of success, whatever. And I had kind of like an awakening in my life. I was coming out of a period of like super, just like a ton of emotional stress and everything. And I actually ended up developing like a chronic pain condition, like an autoimmune disease, and had to like for probably the first time be like, actually, no, we're not pushing ourselves today. Actually, I can't eat that because it's not just like, oh, my diet. It's like, I'll literally be in serious pain tomorrow if I eat that. And it's like it's very well managed now. I feel when it's coming on and I can do the right things to kind of stave it off and make it, duck its ugly head back down. But, like I have a much different like perspective on health now. Before it was like, oh, like CrossFit, work hard, high intensity training, super fit, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, actually, my body's kind of tired today. I'm just going to do some stretching. And that's going to serve me more long term than doing like an aerobic workout. Even though an aerobic workout is like healthy and good for you, I'm like listening to my body more and being like, actually, no, that will hurt me more than help me. And it's kind of like, focusing on health doesn't have to be like just kind of the typical things you hear. It can also mean actually listening more to your body. Yeah. Instead of just pushing through all the time.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I wonder if I would have run into like the same health issues that I have if I had been more like less in a push through mindset and more in a listen to my body mindset.
Well, now you are. Sometimes, exactly. We have to learn these lessons somehow.
Exactly. So we have to learn it somehow. All right. So coming up now, we've got another point. I think our final point.
Yes.
Reclaim your weekends. Yeah. Woo. So a lot of times we're working with people who have like a 9-to-5, Monday through Friday. They kind of have like their weekday schedule. There's things to do. There's distractions. There's accountability and stuff. But then on the weekends, it's like spiral time because like no accountability. You can like really indulge in those like less healthy habits. And So reclaiming your weekends and making them your own again, especially transitioning out of a relationship where, your weekends were majorly spent with this person. It was always a conversation about what the two of you wanted to do. Well, now it's a conversation about what you want to do. So what do your weekends currently look like? If you're feeling like you need that new beginning after your breakup, starting to actually change your weekends to be more reflective of what you want is a great place to start.
Yes.
So, are they relaxing, nourishing days that you look forward to and use to show love for yourself? Or are they memories of your ex and that you're alone and just wallow? Planning self-care into those days and filling up your cup can really be a major game changer so that you're not like catching up from the weekend during the week. You're actually like filling your cup prior to the week and like moving into it with more sparkle in your life and feeling like nice and fresh. So some ways you could revamp your weekends: get out for a walk, or hit the gym after a nice lay-in.
Yes, always sleep in.
Always sleep in. Oh my gosh. My parents always called it a lion. And when I was little, I thought it was like, rawr, lion.
Oh, a lion.
So every time
English?
I think about it, I guess so. They're English. So
right.
That would make sense for why they,
okay.
It's like one of those things where I don't realize that it's not used in America until someone uses something different. And I'm like, what about lion? So have a nice lion, rawr. And then get outside. Seriously, be near a tree, find something green.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the desert, find something kind of blue and red.
I was raised in the desert. There's lots of things you can do outside that are gorgeous. And even in the desert, you probably have a neighborhood park or something
Yeah. And then pull a Janice. Enjoy your coffee and your books in bed before you get up and start moving around. So really luxuriate.
All right. More ideas for the weekend. Revamping your weekend. Take yourself on a solo date. Make a reservation. Get dressed up. Call an Uber. Go out and do something special. Yeah. I think we might have to do an episode on this coming up here at some point. I've gotten a lot of interest in this solo date thing in the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that it's catching on. Another way to revamp your weekend. This seems a little obvious, but I don't think it is to a lot of people. Don't work. Don't respond to emails. Actually take the day off. Yes, I know that it's hard. This is something that Claire and I really believe in. We cheat once in a while.
Well, yeah. My weekend is Sunday, so I generally work on Saturdays.
I think for me, sometimes I take both days completely off. And then if I do have work that I want, I don't use the word have. If I have work that I want or that I prefer to do, I will try and put it all on one of the days so that I can still have the other day completely off.
Yeah.
Everyone, you need to give yourself a day to unplug.
Yeah.
If you have ever been burnt out, I would ask you if it's because you don't take full days off. Even having one work commitment on a day, really, it's not unplugging. Even if you just think that it's one thing, it's a much different feeling from completely not having any commitments or anything that you have to deliver. Yeah. And then along those lines, limit commitments. And even social. Don't have obligations on your weekends. Yes, here and there, definitely, but just something to think about. Maybe start doing weekend day trips. There's so many things probably within just a couple hours of your house that you can go and do and have fun, change of scenery like we were talking before. Some people may enjoy meal prepping on the weekend and find that that's very meditative and that it also helps you get prepared for your week. That's not going to resonate with everyone, but I know some people really get into that. Mm-hmm. And listen to your desire. What do you feel like doing? What is going to feel good to you on your day off?
Mm-hmm.
Take a few minutes, close your eyes, and think about what you want to do, and then do it. And I hope that that is a theme and a practice that everyone takes with them into this new chapter of your life, into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish you the best. We hope that these tips are helpful. And if you are looking to make this year the best year yet, and to make it one where you will finally be able to leave your breakup in the past, we wish you all the luck in the world. Like, seriously, it's so exciting to be doing a New Year's episode after being with our audience for a year.
Yeah.
And, like, really, we wish you all the best of luck. Let's make this happen. Seriously, this is our year. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're here if you want extra support. You know where to find us.
Yes.
What did you think of our tips? Are you energized for the year ahead? If you love this episode, we would really, really appreciate it if you would start the year off with some gratitude and paying it forward and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, it really helps us. And if you don't have an Apple account and you don't have a friend who has an Apple account, just follow us on Spotify. I guess that's fine. But,
yes.
you know,
share us in your Spotify stories. That also helps to get exposure for the show. And we really, truly appreciate everyone that left us reviews last year and everyone who's about to leave us a review after listening to this.
Yeah. And if you start using any of these like tactics for your new year, tag us. If you like have a post or a story about your new morning routine or your meditation practice you're starting, please tag us. We'd love to support you and give you some love on that post. And
yes, please.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great. Well, happy New Year.
Happy, very, very happy New Year. We'll talk to your ears very soon, and bye.
Thank you for listening to Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On with Janice Formichella. I sincerely hope that you found today's episode inspirational or useful. I would love to support you on your healing journey. All you have to do is send me a message on Instagram at Breakups Podcast or email me at breakupspodcast@gmail.com, and I will be in touch to get you started. Remember, if you are struggling with a broken heart, your feelings are temporary. I am sending you so much love and luck for the week ahead. You've got this.